Welcome back, everyone, to Open Line. Glad you are with us. We have with us via Zoom Charlane Oliver. She is Equity Alliance co-founder. We're talking about the Oracle deal and really just growth in general in Nashville. When it comes to Oracle and money invested in our metro school system, what would you like to see? What do you think council members should be pushing for, and kind of where do you think things are in what's being presented right now?
One, I want to back up and say, just today and just this week, we're looking at, where Governor Lee just announced today that he wasn't going to accept unemployment, the $300 unemployment supplement from the federal government that would stimulate the economy for workers. And then just last week, we had the Tennessee General Assembly cut the length of unemployment from 26 weeks to 12 weeks, which is the shortest in the nation in terms of length of unemployment benefits. And so I don't think these issues, when we're talking about workforce development, they don't operate in a vacuum. So on the one hand, we are recruiting companies and trying to build up our workforce. But on the other hand, we are denying folks who are really trying to take care of their families. We're denying them the opportunity to do that and denying them access to opportunities. So when we think about Oracle, as an example, we're trying to build up Nashville to be this tech hub. But let's just be real, like these are engineering jobs, these are computer science jobs, these are real skilled positions, high paying jobs that you need an advanced degree for. But how are we preparing our city's workforce to take on these jobs? So, I just challenge Oracle to go a step deeper. Yes, we want to engage with our colleges and universities and our HBCUs, but we need to groom the talent pipeline much earlier than that. Let's look at middle school. How do we cultivate and motivate our young Black and brown kids to go into STEM careers? How do we make sure that we're investing in programs, not just their Oracle Academy, not just their foundation that puts tutors in the classroom, but actually putting real resources into the classroom that is going to build up the talent pipeline. So those are things we need to invest in for our education so that we are ready for these jobs that are coming here. Because what's going to happen is Oracle is going to attract more Oracles, more companies who want to come to Nashville. And so how do we make sure that we are ready for those jobs? How do we work with organizations like Black in Tech Nashville, who has been on the ground working to make sure that Black tech talent that is here gets seen? How are we working with organizations like Pivot Tech, who is working to make sure that people have skills training to take on these jobs? There are people here right in this city who we can work with. It just takes intentionality and will. And that is what separates this from being systemic racism versus diversity, equity, and inclusion, is the intentionality around executing on what they're promising. They're promising us that they're going to work and partner with our colleges and the universities. Show us, do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're saying this deal lays the groundwork for other deals to come. There will be Oracles after this. So it's important that this deal spell out some of the things you're talking about. You feel like it's really important to get this out there.
I do. I think so. Like I said, we have an opportunity, especially coming out of this pandemic, to do business differently, to do government differently and innovatively, and take a chance on actually doing right by the people. That's what we can do, not to serve big interests, big corporations' interests, but to serve the people's interests. And that's what we're here advocating as the Equity Alliance for our government to do, is to advocate for the people's interests so that 25 years down the line, when we're looking at the property taxes and the property tax revenue, we're not in the position that we were in a year ago, where we were suffering from a budget crisis because 25 years ago, We gave tax incentives to companies that haven't paid into the tax structure, and now we're suffering as a city and suffering a budget crisis and can't fully fund schools today. So we don't want to look up 25 years later and our schools are still suffering, not adequately funded. Our infrastructure is crumbling, and there is no sight of Black folks, immigrant folks in Nashville because we pushed them all out.
You mentioned at the top of this the move by Governor Lee today, where he said we're not going to accept, the state of Tennessee is not going to accept federal supplement money. That's like $300 in unemployment benefits. Mm-hmm. He said essentially there are 250,000 open jobs in Tennessee, and we don't need to accept these unemployment benefits. Tennessee works best when people go out and work. And I guess what they're saying is that when they're getting this supplemental benefit, they're not inclined to go and work, and all of these jobs are open, and there are employers that are saying, we can't find anybody to come work for us. And so what do you think about that?
I have a couple of thoughts, and I ran on a whole Twitter rant earlier today about it, but I did a quick search. I did a quick glance at the 250,000 jobs that are on the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development's website. And from what I can find, they're either low-wage jobs that don't pay over $13 an hour or so, roughly. I found a job, it was like a dishwasher for like $9 an hour, or they're like manufacturing jobs or skilled jobs. So again, it's not that people don't want to work, but can they actually do the job, and are they trained and skilled to do them? That's one piece of it. The other piece of it is, well, if you can't find workers, then you need to pay them more. You need to pay them a livable wage. We can do both. I think we can be a business-friendly state that we are, but we can also pay our people who make this city and this state run. I think we can do both. The other thing is, this belief that what's embedded in what Governor Lee is not saying is that people are lazy. People want to just sit at home and collect a check and collect unemployment. But we got to look at, we're in a pandemic. We didn't ask for a pandemic. No one asked to be sitting at home. So obviously people want to work. They want to work. They want to provide for their families. But unfortunately, they were already in a job that wasn't paying a livable wage. And then they looked up and got caught up in a pandemic and saw how their employer doesn't give a darn about them getting COVID. They don't get protections on the job. And if they do get sick, they can't get paid sick leave. They don't have anybody to watch their kids. They're working 2 and 3 low-wage jobs to make ends meet. And so we're seeing all of these pandemics come to life all together. The pandemic of COVID, the pandemic of systemic racism, the pandemic of white supremacy, and the pandemic of poverty, all coming together during COVID. And people are waking up to say, no, I'm not going back to a job that doesn't serve me well. There's nothing wrong with that. What we need to be saying is,
will they continue to say that if they don't have the $300 in unemployment? I mean, is it the unemployment that is allowing people to kind of be picky and say, I'm not going to go back, or do you think there's a real shift here?
I think there is a real shift, but we do need to ask the question of why is it that being paid more on unemployment is more attractive than actually being paid on the job? It's a shame that we are paying more on unemployment than we are on the job. We need to pay people more. We're trying to get away with cheap labor at the expense of people's families, at the expense of people's livelihoods. And the only thing that benefits them is to put profits into the companies that don't care about them.
And when Governor Lee says that, is it almost like he's saying Tennessee works best when people are desperate?
Yeah, I guess so. Tennessee definitely doesn't work best when.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, we'll take a couple calls here. Let's go to Ron. Hello, Ron.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
Just a quick statement there. I love everybody. I'm going to put that out there right at first there. But I know she was talking about taxes going up. And the only thing I can say is if who you vote for is how everything's going to go. And just love everybody. And if you vote for, from what I've seen, the mayor there is, I think he's a Democrat. But look at what you're voting for. That's all I can say. Thank you. Love everybody. See you.
So yeah, I think he's saying Democrats are going to raise taxes. Look who you're voting for. Democrats are going to raise taxes. Republicans aren't going to raise taxes. Look at the governor, or look at the mayor here in Nashville. He's a Democrat. I don't remember exactly what you might have said that brought that up, but when he says that, what do you think?
Well, one, I have to applaud him for bringing up voting, because all roads lead back to policy, and all roads lead back to civic engagement. We have to be more engaged in seeing what our government officials are actually doing. Watch their feet, not their mouth. The other thing is we actually have to be voting. We have to be paying attention and holding people accountable. So absolutely, I didn't catch the guy's name, but yes, watch who you vote for. Even Democrats, or Democrat, Republican, I don't care who you are, you should be serving the people. You are a public servant. You got in that office to serve the people, and you should be doing that. You should not be here using it to leverage it for corporations who take taxpayer money and then don't pay back into the system. So, yeah, he's right. Watch who you vote for. Even if they are a Democrat, are they serving you and making your community better?
Right. Okay. Yeah, Ron and Charlane agree. Watch who you vote for. Let's go to Lucy. Hello, Lucy.
Hey, y'all.
Hi.
Well, hey, y'all kind of went for this unemployment thing. I wanted to make a comment about that. 250,000 unfilled positions. What I was wondering when I heard that on the news, how many people is he talking about that are still on unemployment? 250,000? I kind of doubt it. I would like to know that number. And I also know that you might be drawing unemployment in the state of Tennessee, but be living in Podunk, Illinois, and drawing it because you had to go back home. It was either go back home and draw unemployment on Tennessee or end up in the streets with everybody else. So to say that all those people drawing unemployment in Tennessee are still here, I think is just ignorant just to even make us assume that they're all sitting here, I got an extra $300 a week. I think I can go out and buy me a full ounce of reefer this week now, and I'm going to sit here and toke and watch y'all choke out there. That's what it sounds like. This state, the governor, has finally become nothing but an absolute overseer. And he is the governor. I'm not picking on this one here. I've just watched it happen. They kowtow to everything that comes down the pike, and it just makes me wonder about campaign contributions, PACs, these super secret PACs, these deals. When Dell brought jobs up here, you was talking about Oracle being the one that's going to make the way. No, it was Dell. When Dell came up here, they were taking $35 an hour jobs out of Austin, Texas, and coming up here and starting them on third shift at $8.50 an hour and stuff like that. All these deals that they said that they were going to do did not follow through. That property out there on Murfreesboro Pike, 30 years, no taxes. And I know I heard the mayor say, and when you compare Democrats or Republicans here in the state of Tennessee, they're almost about the same. But I heard the mayor say that for 25 years we were going to pay half their taxes. And I'm like, let's see, we're going to pay half of their tax bill at Oracle. Or he just wrote a check out to put $25 million into the roads. And where here's the state. The roads around here look like we're driving through Kandahar. You cannot afford
right,
to
Lucy.
have a vehicle here.
Okay,
I
all right,
mean,
so-
what I'm saying is $25 million. Why couldn't that go to housing? And the reason is because the people that are coming here like speculating on real estate, and if you build affordable housing, put $25 million in, it's going to drive down their prices to flip another house.
All right, let's talk about that.
Came from.
Okay. What do you think? There's a lot there from Lucy. Thank you, Lucy. But what she talked about Dell. She also talked about $25 million going into affordable housing. They're not going to do it. What do you want to take there?
Lucy has some good points. I think what she's referring to is, so what's going to happen is so Oracle is basically fronting the infrastructure money, the $175 million. So they're basically, the city's getting like an IOU. They're going to front up the money, but the city's going to pay them back over the next 25 years in property tax money. So the campus is going to generate new property tax revenue over the next 25 years, and out of that money, the city will pay Oracle back. 50% of that will go to pay them back up to the $125 million. The other 50% will go towards investments in affordable housing and other things. I believe there was an amendment. What she's talking about, I think what Lucy's talking about is the amendment that Metro Council passed that says 25%, I think, of the 50%, half of it has to go into the Barnes Fund for affordable housing. That was proposed by Metro Councilwoman Zulfat Swara. So I think that was a great thing. I don't think that it has any teeth behind it, though. I'm not quite sure. I haven't read the amendment, but at least they get to publicly say that money should go into the Barnes Fund.
Okay, so there is work along those lines. You like what was being talked about there, at least with that proposal, 25%.
Yes, I think that's a good thing. That's the kind of things we need to see more of when we talk about, having it in writing. How can we direct those resources to the right places? Affordable housing, absolutely. That future property tax revenue should go to that. Education, infrastructure, traffic. I think Lucy talked about that. Absolutely, we should be directing those resources to where it's needed most.
Okay. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back, take some more calls. Take a break. Be back right after this.